Hi, it's Justin Paperny, Monday, March 9th. Going to jump right in with two disclosures. One, working from the home office today, so if you hear a crying baby in the background, I apologize. That would be my crying baby, so just work with me here. Second, I'm not a medical doctor. I am a former stockbroker, turned real estate agent, turned convicted felon, turned consultant, public speaker, and author. These opinions in this video are based on my client experiences, and what I witnessed in prison. So with that disclosure out of the way, I want to transition into a really awesome call I got this morning from a client in prison. So appreciative that he called to thank me, considering we only get 300 phone minutes a month. And he called to tell me how impactful this lesson plan was as part of our larger course through the Blueprint program. In this course, what is my frame of mind? And about 2 months before he went in, my client retained me, very overweight, drinking, some smoking, mostly cigars, and said that he was on more than 10 medications. And he was concerned that he wouldn't get all of the 10 medications in prison. So Glenn, again, just coming back, I'm not a medical doctor. I did not give him any medical advice other than my suggesting that he speak with his doctor to assess what medications would translate into prison, reviewing the BOP formulary list. And besides the medication, I discussed with him, what are some things you can do before you go in? What are some measurable action steps you can take? He was a reader, he was a thinker, but reading and thinking at times could be even passive. It was time for him to take action. So rather than saying he needed to exercise, it was time that he had to exercise. So a lot of what I try to do, a lot of the things you're supposed to be doing, or we tell you what to do, or I tell you what to do, but the follow-through is the key. The action is the key, and that's something we work on together, both through the coaching and through this program. So we set some measurable goals, and we carried them out 60 days until his surrender that began with some walking and stretching and beginning to lose some of that weight that had bogged him down for so long, and it really impacted him and his ability to live a normal lifestyle. Like many of the people with whom I work, he had already felt incarcerated long before he crossed over into prison boundaries. So in assessing his frame of mind, he was very much in this indignation and anger phase, that he was prosecuted, that he felt like he had to plead, and that the 2 years away from home he thought would be nothing but a waste of time. So getting him in the right frame of mind was a big deal, because that would better impact his family, who frankly was the most concerned. So moving along, over the next 2 months before his surrender, he lost more than 20 pounds, stopped using the cold as an excuse, took action, and surrendered to prison taking fewer medications based on the advice of his doctor, who said, you don't need all of these. You do not need all of these medications. And with that, his surrender to prison was much easier, both because he had already lost some weight and he didn't need to get adjusted to as many medications. I had a client, Mark Land, write me a note about some medical issues. And I said, so what is the current BOP stance on health issues? And he said, they say you're not getting worse care here than you would in the street. I have friends that work in law enforcement. I've done some work with the FBI. I still do work with pretrial. They may watch this video. So without any disrespect, I believe that to be a lie. I suffered a hernia injury in prison. They had no interest in treating me. Instead, I spent $4,200 at UCLA Medical Center upon my release. That was cool. I can understand that. But to say that the care that you're going to get in prison is akin to what you get in the street is like me telling you that Philip Morris doesn't want you to smoke or Budweiser doesn't want you to drink. I don't think it to be true. So what do you have to do? You have to take some action. You have to the degree or extent that you can, manage all that you can, and that includes getting healthier and not being as reliant on medication if you don't really need it. Because adjusting to prison is difficult, it is hard, and if you need to get adjusted to 5, 10, 3, however many medications, it can generic at best, it's going to make your adjustment even harder. So I'll close with an applaud to my client. At times I'm critical of those going through the system because I think they could be doing more, and they don't fully understand how the decisions they make today will impact the rest of their life and their family's life. So this client who hired me went all in, 100%. His frame of mind was strong, and as we proceeded through our extensive courses, the day that he surrendered to prison, those first weeks, and everything that went along with his journey has been incredible. And I loved getting the call from him today, and I thanked him so much for using some of his valuable phone minutes to reach out to me. So while I'm not a doctor, I encourage you to speak with your doctor and assess the medications that you're on and what you'll need. And then you take action. Get healthy. Eat well. And if you can do that, your transition to the inside will be better. And I'll hope that someday you'll use some of your valuable phone minutes to thank me as my client did today. It truly made my day. Okay, I'll be back soon. And to close, no crying baby. We did well. Talk to you soon.